When the world seems to turn its face away from you, when someone you long for withdraws their attention, their affection, their warmth, it is easy to believe that the power lies outside you. It is easy to think they hold the reins, that their silence defines your worth, and their indifference is the final verdict on your desirability. But the moment you accept that illusion, you hand over your creative authority. You begin to live as though life happens to you instead of through you. But the truth is far more profound, far more intimate. Nothing in your world exists independently of your inner movement. The one who ignored you did not act from their power, they acted from yours. Every reaction you experienced, every moment of feeling less than, forgotten, invisible, was born first in you. Life only reflected it back. The great shift begins the moment you realize this: you were never at the mercy of anyone's attention. The power to attract, to be adored, to be chased, to be prioritized has always lived inside you. What you call someone ignoring you is nothing more than a temporary shadow cast by your old assumptions, your old thoughts, your old self image. And the moment you decide, truly decide, to see yourself differently, the world must change its behavior toward you. They must respond differently. They must soften. They must return. Because no one can escape the roles you assign them in consciousness. Think back to the moments you felt ignored. There was a feeling within you, subtle but powerful, a feeling of being undesired, unseen, or maybe not chosen. You may have tried to hide it. You may have pretended you didn't care. You may have taken action, spoken differently, played games, withdrew, reached out, but all of that was surface activity. What determined your experience was the invisible assumption beneath it. You believed, even if only for a moment, that the one you wanted did not want you back. That belief created the script they played. The moment you reverse that inner assumption, their behavior must reverse. And this is what we call the love reversal energy shift, the instant where the one who once ignored you begins to move toward you with unmistakable desire. Not because you chased, not because you begged, not because you demanded, but because you quietly, powerfully shifted your internal state. You became the version of yourself who is adored, valued, pursued. You became the one who is chosen without effort. This shift is not loud, it is not dramatic, it is quiet and deeply personal. It begins when you stop looking outward for evidence and start cultivating the inner knowing. When you tell yourself, with certainty, I am the one they want, you begin altering the foundation of your reality. You create a new spiritual identity, and the world must conform to it. Every person in your world is compelled to treat you according to your self concept. They cannot escape it, they cannot rebel against it. For as long as you persist in an inner assumption, it remains the law governing your experience. The one who ignored you will feel the pull. They will feel the shift, even if you say nothing, even if you do nothing. Your silence will feel different because your inner energy is different. You are no longer waiting. You are no longer longing. You are no longer wounded. You stand in the knowing that you are desired, and that knowing acts like a magnetic force. It draws them in, it stirs their mind, it awakens their heart. The memory of you begins to feel different to them, warm, irresistible, safe, inviting. They begin to remember you with fondness. They begin to crave your presence. They begin to replay moments with you, sensing something they can't quite explain. What they feel is the new identity you have adopted for yourself, pressing itself into their awareness. When you shift your inner energy, everything changes. The one who once scrolled past your messages without care now checks your profile, replays your voice notes, reads your old words, and feels a new longing. The one who once made you feel secondary now feels an urgency within them. They wonder what you're doing. They wonder who you're talking to. They wonder whether someone else is appreciating you. And this curiosity becomes desire, and this desire becomes action. They will chase you not because you manipulated them, but because you return to the truth of who you are. There is no resentment in this shift. There is no revenge in it. It is not about making them suffer. It is about awakening to your inner power, the power that always existed but was momentarily forgotten. When you remember that you are the chooser, not the chosen object, everything reverses. The energy between you rearranges itself. The dynamic shifts. The roles invert. You become the center of gravity, and they become the one drawn toward you. Many people misunderstand this process and believe the outer world must change before they can feel secure within. But you cannot wait for them to chase you in order to believe you are worthy of being chased. Belief precedes experience. Inner transformation precedes outer confirmation. Everything begins in imagination when you close your eyes and imagine their love, their confession, their pursuit, their admiration. You are not fantasizing. You are selecting a new reality. You are stepping into a dimension where their love is already yours. And once selected, it must harden into fact. The real challenge is not to create the new desire in them. That happens instantly. The real challenge is to remain loyal to the inner state until the outer world catches up. Your old assumptions may try to return. Old fears may whisper to you. You may feel tempted to check the phone 100 times, to look for a sign, to analyze their behavior. But this restlessness is simply the residue of the former self. It has no power unless you give it your attention. The most powerful energy is calm certainty. When you know they love you, need you, and are moving toward you, even before you see any evidence, you are aligned with the law of creation. And certainty becomes the signal that they cannot resist. They feel your detachment, but not the cold kind, not the punishing kind. They feel the warm detachment of someone who is already loved, already chosen. This makes them restless. This makes them aware of your absence. This makes them move. You may think they haven't thought of you, but they have. They may appear distant, but they are not. Every inner shift you make sends a ripple through your shared energetic field, and the moment you assume a new identity, they sense the shift. Their thoughts reorganize themselves, their desires realign, their emotions awaken. The same person who once ignored you will begin to feel uncertain, even afraid of losing you, and this fear will turn into action. Not chaotic, desperate action, but intentional, heartfelt action. They will try to reconnect. They will want to speak to you. They will want to be around you. They will want your attention. And the moment they feel this awakening within them, they will try to rationalize it. They may tell themselves it is sudden. They may convince themselves they miss your energy, your kindness, your presence. But what they cannot see is that you shifted first. You changed the inner script. You made the silent decision. I am loved. I am valued. I am desired. I am irresistible. And the world simply obeyed. This love reversal energy shift is not manipulation, it is alignment. It is returning to your original design. You were never meant to chase, you were never meant to beg, you were never meant to convince anyone of your worth. You are the source of your reality, not the product of someone's inconsistent attention. The moment you stop seeking validation from the outside, you reclaim your throne, and the world must acknowledge your sovereignty. Imagine now, in this very moment, the version of you who is adored without effort. Feel what it is like to be the one they cannot ignore. Feel the confidence, the calmness, the glow of someone who knows they are cherished. Feel the warmth in your chest, the quiet certainty in your stomach, the gentle smile on your face. This is not imagination. This is selection. You are aligning with the version of yourself who is magnetic, irresistible, unforgettable. Now imagine them sensing this new energy. Imagine them feeling the shift. Imagine the soft confusion in their mind as they suddenly feel drawn to you. Imagine them picking up their phone, wanting to message you, wanting to hear your voice. Imagine them missing you with a sweetness that surprises even them. Imagine them remembering your presence and realizing no one compares to you. This is not fiction. This is not wishful thinking. This is the inevitable result of your inner transformation. When you become the version of yourself who is pursued, the world cannot treat you otherwise. People follow your self image. They respond to the energy you embody, not the words you speak. And once you shift into the identity of the chosen one, the one you love begins to chase. Not because you need it, but because it is the natural reflection of your new consciousness. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to change them. You only need to change your inner state. And once that state is stabilized, the outer reversal happens naturally. The one who ignored you, will feel compelled to move toward you. They will feel the pull, the attraction, the curiosity, the longing. They will try to understand why they suddenly feel this connection so strongly. They will try to make sense of it. But the truth is simple. You shifted first. Every time you return to the inner scene of being loved, desired, cherished, you reinforce the new reality. Every time you remind yourself of your value, you strengthen the energetic thread pulling them toward you. Every time you choose the feeling of being adored over the fear of being ignored, you command the outer world to obey, and it will obey. Silence will turn into communication, distance will turn into closeness, indifference will turn into desire. The one who ignored you will chase you, not because you demanded it, but because your inner energy changed the script they subconsciously follow. The reversal begins within, the chase begins within, the love begins within, and the moment you claim it, the world will mirror it back. Always. There is a moment, quiet and almost imperceptible, where your inner shift becomes stronger than any memory of how things used to be. You stop recalling the old story of being ignored, and you start embodying a new truth without effort. Suddenly, you no longer wonder when they will return. You no longer monitor their actions or overanalyze their silence. Instead, you carry yourself as someone who is naturally and inevitably loved. In this moment, you embody the version of yourself that existed before doubt clouded your heart. You walk through your world as the one who is desired, the one who is remembered, the one who is worth chasing. And it is in this very state that the reversal begins to show itself in the outer world. They feel the shift before you see the evidence. They pick up the emotional vibration long before they send the message. They notice something is different in the energetic field between you. Your thoughts are no longer pulling at them with desperation. Your heart is no longer reaching outward with longing. Instead, your energy is settled, full, and radiant. And this radiance acts like gravity. It draws them closer with each passing day. Their mind starts to wander back to you in moments where they least expect it. They feel your presence not as a memory but as a living awareness that invites them, comforts them, pulls them in. You may be washing dishes, reading a book, or simply going about your day when something inside you feels lighter, clearer. You sense the shift within yourself. It's not dramatic, it's not loud. It is a quiet knowing, a deep, warm recognition that you are now inhabiting the version of reality where everything is flowing toward you. In this knowing, you stop searching for signs because you have become the sign. You've become the confirmation. You've become the embodiment of the reality you once hoped to enter. And the moment you stabilize in this identity, the world rearranges itself. The one who ignored you begins to feel uneasy in your absence. They feel the loss of your old energy, the version of you that once chased, once sought, once reached. They feel a void where your attention once lived, and this void awakens curiosity within them. They start to wonder what changed, why you feel different, why their thoughts keep circling back to you. Their mind tries to explain it logically, but the shift is not logical, it's energetic, and energy always reaches its destination. There is a beautiful paradox in this process. The moment you no longer need them to chase you is the moment they cannot resist doing so. This is because needing creates resistance, while embodying creates attraction. When you needed their attention, your energy carried tension, insecurity, longing, and this made it difficult for them to approach, not because they didn't care, but because you are in a state that repels. But when you release the need and step into the identity of someone who is inherently loved, appreciated, and desired, you become magnetic. Your calmness becomes alluring. Your self assurance becomes irresistible. Your quiet confidence becomes their fascination. And it's not because you have changed anything about your outer behavior. The shift is internal. It is in the way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you think, the way you hold yourself. When you move through life with the gentle certainty of someone who is cherished, the world responds accordingly. You give off a frequency that tells everyone around you, I am worth choosing, and the one you love feels it more intensely than anyone else. They may try to distract themselves. They may try to focus on other people, other conversations, other responsibilities. But the more they try to ignore the pull, the stronger it becomes. The reversal energy is not something they can escape. It is a change in the energetic field between you, a field you created through your inner work. And as you maintain this state, your power becomes unmistakable. You may find that during these moments you begin to receive unexpected things, a sudden sense of peace, a warm rush of confidence, a powerful realization that you are in control of your reality. These inner experiences are not coincide, CEs. They are signs that you have shifted timelines. You are now aligned with the version of your relationship where they take initiative, where they reach out first, where they speak words that once felt impossible to hear. And the more you embody this inner state, the quicker the outer world must reflect it. The energy between two people is always reciprocal. When you stop pushing, they start pulling. When you stop chasing, they begin their journey toward you. When you release the urgency, they feel the urgency. It is the most natural reversal in the world because you have returned to your true position, the creator of your experience. Continue to nurture this inner knowing. Continue to feel what it means to be desired, to be valued, to be chased with sincerity, with devotion, with clarity. Let the warmth of that identity fill your heart. Let it become your emotional home. You will notice how your reality continues to shift in subtle ways. You feel more grounded, you feel more powerful, you feel more at ease, and as you feel these things, the outer world aligns with them effortlessly. They begin to remember you at unexpected hours. They feel compelled to revisit your messages. They wonder what you're doing, who you're thinking about, whether someone else has captured your attention. This inner questioning becomes a stirring in their heart, gently guiding them back to you. They may try to resist at first, but resistance only heightens desire, and in the end they must follow the pull. They must return to the source of the feeling, your energy, your presence, your new identity. This is the transformation that happens when you shift from the version of yourself who waits to the version who knows. And this knowing is the force behind every reunion, every apology, every unexpected message, every change of heart. It is not luck. It is not chance. It is the law expressed in G itself, through your inner state. As the days unfold in this new state of being, you begin to notice how your inner world becomes calmer and softer. You feel a lightness in your chest, a sense of quiet power that wasn't there before. You wake up feeling aligned rather than anxious, grounded rather than searching. This is the moment you understand that the outer world has no choice but to follow the shift you have already made within. You begin to expect good things without needing to force the expectation. You simply know. And this knowing becomes the very energy that drives the reversal into physical form. The person who once overlooked you begins to feel a new clarity rising inside them. They replay your smile in their mind, the tone of your voice, the softness of your presence. They remember the comfort you brought, the warmth you carried, the way their world always seemed a little brighter when you were in it. These memories are not accidental. They are echoes of the new identity you've chosen, rippling into their awareness. They feel drawn to you not because they suddenly changed their mind, but because you quietly rewrote the script of your connection. Your energy begins to stand taller, even when you say nothing. You walk differently, not with arrogance, but with a gentle assuredness. You move as someone who knows their worth, and without even being aware of it, you radiate an aura that leaves an impression wherever you go. People notice, they respond, they engage with you differently. And the one who once ignored you feels this shift more intensely than anyone else. There is a kind of magnetic silence that surrounds you now. It's not empty, it's filled with conviction, with the certainty of someone who has reclaimed their inner authority. This silence speaks louder than any words you could ever say. It whispers into the corners of the universe, I am chose. N, I am desired, I am worthy. And the universe responds, aligning the people, the circumstances, the timing in your favor. The one who ignored you may not understand why they suddenly feel drawn to you, but they will feel it nonetheless. They may try to distract themselves with noise, but your energy will seep through the cracks of their attention. They may try to stay busy, but the quiet moments will bring them back to you. They will feel the pull at night when the world is still. They will feel it in the morning when they first wake. They will feel it in unexpected moments, like a thought that arrives uninvited yet refuses to leave. And this feeling grows. It gains strength. It becomes a necessity within them, a desire that can no longer be denied. They begin to question their own silence. They begin to realize that ignoring you did not make the energy disappear. It only delayed the connection that was meant to awaken in a deeper way. They may even wonder how they managed to overlook something so meaningful, so magnetic, so rare. This is the moment where the reversal becomes undeniable. They shift from indifference to curiosity, from curiosity to longing, from longing to pursuit. Your inner transformation becomes visible in the ways they approach you. Their messages become warmer, their tone becomes softer, their gestures become more intentional. They seek out reasons to interact with you, even if disguised as small talk or harmless questions. They want to feel your energy again. They want to reconnect. They want to step back into your presence because your energy has become irresistible. The most powerful part of this process is that you do not chase this change. It comes to you. You do not imagine them doing these things from a place of desperation. You imagine it from a place of knowing. And this knowing is what transforms the vibration between you. You hold why? Ourself as someone who is loved, and so they must show up as someone who loves you. This is the elegance of the reversal. It is simple, it is natural, it is inevitable. Continue to carry this inner state as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Let your heart rest in it. Let your breath deepen in it. Let your mind relax in it. You are not pretending. You are not forcing. You are allowing yourself to become the version of you that has always existed beneath the surface. The version of you who expects love, who receives love, who is pursued with devotion. In this state, your thoughts become gentle. You think of them not with worry, but with warmth. You imagine not with doubt, but with clarity. You feel not with longing, but with fulfillment. And this inner fulfillment becomes the foundation of everything that follows. When you are fulfilled within, you no longer need anything from the outer world, and therefore the outer world rushes to meet you. The person who once ignored you feels this fulfillment and interprets it as something they need to be part of. They sense your peace and crave it. They sense your self assurance and admire it. They sense your emotional independence and find it deeply attractive. You become a mystery they want to understand, a presence they want to return to, a reality they want to experience again. And slowly they begin to move toward you with a sincerity that mirrors your inner transformation. As this energetic shift strengthens within you, you begin to realize that you are no longer reacting to the old version of them, nor the old version of yourself. You are responding to the reality you have already selected, the one where you are cherished without conditions. And this quiet inner selection holds more power than any words you could ever speak out loud. You feel yourself stepping into a new identity, not as someone who waits to be chosen, but as someone who is naturally and inevitably chosen. This identity begins to shape every interaction you have with the world. Your energy no longer seeks approval. It no longer reaches outward looking for reassurance. Instead, it folds inward, becoming warm, confident, radiant. You feel the strength of someone who no longer questions their worth. You walk with the softness of someone who knows love without needing to demand it. And as you dwell in this new internal landscape, you become the embodiment of the very thing you once wished to experience. This embodiment is what transforms you into a magnet. You are no longer trying to attract anything, you are simply being. And being is always more powerful than trying. Being carries a frequency of inevitability. It tells the universe, this is who I am, this is what I experience, this is my truth. And the universe rearranges itself to match. Meanwhile, the one who ignored you begins to feel this effortless shift. They sense that your energy is no longer leaning toward them. It is no longer grasping or hoping or waiting. You are no longer anchored in the past version of the connection. Instead, your energy feels open, free, abundant. And this openness draws them in like a gentle force they can't fully explain. They feel the shift, not as loss, but as intrigue. They feel something awakening, something pulling them toward you even when they try to focus elsewhere. They may find themselves thinking of you at random moments, while driving, eating, working, resting. They may begin to feel curious about you in a way they haven't felt in a long time. They may start replaying your voice in their mind, the cadence of your words, the softness of your presence. These thoughts arise not from memory alone, but from the new energetic story you've written within. You have rewritten your self concept, and because they are a character within your consciousness, they must respond to that new concept. Your calmness becomes a mystery they want to solve. Your silence becomes a space they want to enter. Your energy becomes a place they want to revisit. They begin to feel the absence of the old energy you used to give them, the energy of waiting, of needing, of longing. And this absence makes them aware of how much they once relied on your presence. They start to see how much they took your energy for granted. And this realization deepens their desire to reconnect. You do nothing on the outside to cause this shift. You don't message, you don't pursue, you don't explain yourself. You simply remain anchored in the truth that you are desired, that you are important, that you are unforgettable. And because this truth feels natural within you, the world must mold itself around it. Their heart begins to soften, their mind begins to open. Something inside them begins to whisper that they should reach out, that they should check on you, that they should make an effort. They may not act on it immediately, but the feeling grows. It expands slowly, then quickly, then all at once. They cannot shake it, they cannot ignore it, they cannot silence it. It becomes a quiet urgency that pushes them closer to you with every passing thought. They may start noticing signs that remind them of you: songs, places, memories, phrases. They may feel a sudden wave of nostalgia that comes out of nowhere. They may even dream of you. These are not coincidences, they are reflections of the new energy you hold. The more stable you become in your inner knowing, the more intense their urge becomes. It's not because you force anything, but because you have withdrawn your old energy and replaced it with a higher one. They feel this shift. They feel the loss of what they once ignored. And this feeling becomes the spark that ignites their desire. They may begin to wonder if you still think of them. They may wonder if someone else has your attention. They may wonder if you've moved on. And this wondering becomes the beginning of their pursuit. They start to feel a pull that goes beyond logic, a pull that draws them back toward you, not as an option, but as a priority. And you continue to live in your chosen identity, the identity of someone who doesn't chase because they are the one being chased. You no longer try to predict their actions. You no longer question the timing. You no longer place your happiness in their hands. You allow yourself to rest in the certainty that you are loved, that you are valued, that you are chosen. And this rest becomes the very thing that brings everything to you without effort as you settle deeper into this new version of yourself, something extraordinary. Innery begins to happen. The world starts to mirror your inner calm with precision. You no longer look outward for signs because the feeling within you is already the greatest sign. The knowing becomes so natural that you don't even notice how often you return to it. It becomes the atmosphere of your life, a quiet inner climate where you are certain of your worth without needing a single piece of proof. And this certainty becomes the force that draws everything into alignment. The person who once turned away from you now senses the shift in the air around your name. It's as if your energy hits them differently, echoing with a clarity they can't ignore. Their mind reaches back to moments where they felt connected to you, and these memories grow stronger with time. What once felt distant now feels urgent. What once felt optional now feels essential. They begin to wonder how they ever overlooked what you offered so freely before. They begin to question why they didn't see your value sooner. These questions swirl inside them, gently reshaping their feelings until the desire to move toward you becomes unavoidable. You feel this unfolding not through their actions, but through the softness in your own heart. There is no impatience, there is no frustration, there is no longing. Instead, there is an effortless sense of arrival, as if the reality you once hoped for has already happened inside you. And because it has happened inside you, the outer world must bring itself into harmony with that inner truth. You may find yourself smiling at random moments, feeling a warmth rise from within. That warmth is the energy of alignment. It is the quiet certainty that everything is moving in your favor, even if you can't yet see the physical pieces shifting. You feel guided, you feel supported, you feel like the world is responding to you with gentleness. This is the power of your inner. Transformation. It softens everything around you. Meanwhile, the one who once seemed unmoved begins to feel a pull that disrupts their routine. They may catch themselves thinking about you without reason. They may try to dismiss the thought, but it returns with more intensity. They may try to busy themselves, but the feeling follows them into every quiet moment. They begin to feel an emotional nudge, a subtle sense that they should reach out, that they should reconnect, that something is missing without your presence. Their heart begins to awaken, not because you pushed, but because you pulled your energy inward. And that inward pull created a vacuum they now feel. The absence of your old energy makes your new energy impossible to ignore. They feel the difference. They notice the shift. They feel the softness of your new vibration even from afar. And this softness calls to them with a quiet insistence. Your energy no longer says, please choose me. It now says, I am already chosen. And this subtle change becomes the very reason they feel compelled to move toward you. They start replaying moments where you offered kindness, patience, affection, moments they once brushed aside without appreciation. Now, these memories feel precious to them. They realize you brought something into their life that they didn't recognize at the time. They feel a need to understand why they're suddenly drawn to you again, why the thought of you has become persistent, why the connection feels unfinished. You no longer analyze their silence. You no longer wonder what they are thinking. You no longer question whether they feel anything. Instead, you stand firmly in your inner truth. And because you are rooted in this quiet certainty, the world must adjust itself around you. The one who ignored you must return, not from obligation, but from desire. You notice small shifts within yourself. The way your shoulders relax, the way your breath deepens, the way your mind becomes quieter, you begin to approach your days with a sense of ease that once felt impossible. And this ease is what transforms the energy between you. It is the difference between hoping and knowing. It is the difference between lack and abundance. It is the difference between being the seeker and being the magnet. Your inner world is now a place where love flows toward you, not away from you, a place where you are cherished, a place where you are seen, a place where you are pursued. And this inner world is more powerful than anything happening outside of you. The reversal is already in motion. You can feel it in the subtle shifts, in the quiet changes, in the gentle unfolding that happens day by day. You sense the momentum building even if the physical evidence has yet to appear. You know that the story is rewriting itself from the inside out, and because of that, you no longer rush the process. You trust it, you honor it, you allow it. You have become the version of yourself they cannot ignore, the version they remember, the version they crave, the version they return to, not as an afterthought, but as a priority. And when you understand this, you stop reacting to the appearance of being ignored, and instead you start responding to the deeper truth that your inner acceptance is the only acceptance that has ever mattered. You begin to realize that nothing out there can withhold what you have already claimed in here. The moment you stop chasing, stop begging, stop hoping, and instead assume, a mysterious reversal begins. The energy reorganizes itself. The person who once walked away becomes restless. The one who was silent becomes stirred. The one who seemed distant becomes magnetized because you have withdrawn the power you were unknowingly giving them and placed it back where it always belonged, within yourself. And you feel this shift not as a loud announcement, but as a gentle certainty, a calm knowing that, of course, they will reach out. Of course, they will come forward, because your inner world has already made it so. You wake up one morning with a strange peace, an ease you cannot explain, and that ease is the very first sign that the outer world is shaping itself into your desire. You no longer wait for their call with anxiety. Instead, you expect it with quiet confidence. You no longer check your phone every hour. You simply know that it will light up when the time matches the state you have entered. And that certainty becomes the magnet. You begin speaking to yourself differently. You begin imagining them differently. You begin seeing yourself differently. Instead of thinking, why weren't I enough? You think, of course I am desired. Instead of remembering every moment they ignored you, You imagine them regretting the distance. Instead of feeling the hurt of being pushed aside, you feel the warmth of being chosen. You rewrite your inner script, and the world without hesitation follows it. Because you are not waiting for them to change. You are not trying to change their mind. You are not trying to force their behavior. You are changing the only thing that ever needed changing: your assumption, your self concept, your inner picture. And once that changes, they cannot help but respond. That is the miracle of consciousness. That is the reversal energy. That is the secret most never understand. The moment you see yourself as someone who is pursued, they begin pursuing. The moment you see yourself as someone who is loved, they begin loving. The moment you see yourself as someone who is chosen, you become irresistible to the very person who once overlooked you. And as this inner shift deepens, you stop seeing them as someone above you, beyond you, or separate from you. You stop placing them on a pedestal. You stop believing they have the power to validate you. You stop yearning for their approval. Instead, you feel the truth that you are the source, you are the selector, you are the cause. And the moment you realize this, the dynamic reverses. Where once you were eager, now they become eager. Where once you felt powerless, now they feel the pull. Where once they seemed indifferent, now they become attentive. Because energetically, you are no longer the one reaching, you are the one receiving. You may notice subtle signs at first: a thought of you crossing their mind unexpectedly, a sudden curiosity they cannot explain, a pull toward your presence, your energy, your memory. Something about you feels different to them even if they cannot articulate it. They feel drawn, almost compelled, because your new inner state is calling them in the same way a magnet calls metal. They feel a shift even from a distance. They feel a warmth, an interest, a desire rising within them. They wonder what changed, unaware that the change was not out there, it was within you. And the beauty is that you do not need to see these signs to know this shift is happening. The knowing itself is the sign. The inner calm is the sign. The feeling of having already received is the sign. The absence of fear is the sign. The moment you stop asking, when will they come, and instead think, they are already mine, is the moment the outer world starts moving toward you with certainty. The outer always bends to the inner. So you continue living in that inner state. You rehearse scenes of them chasing you, appreciating you, wanting you, not with desperation but with delight. You imagine them confessing their love, expressing their regret, admitting that they never stopped thinking about you. You hear their voice in your mind, not pleading be, but adoring. You see their face, not distant but filled with longing. You feel their presence, not absent but reaching for you. And you allow this feeling to saturate your mind until it feels natural, until it feels inevitable, until it feels like the only truth. Because when the feeling becomes natural, the manifestation becomes physical. When the state becomes familiar, the behavior becomes visible. When the inner assumption becomes stable, the outer reality becomes obedient. And soon you reach that turning point where you no longer hope they will chase you. You expect it. You no longer wonder whether they will come back. You know it. You no longer analyze their silence because you understand that silence is temporary, but your assumption is permanent. Your inner world carries the authority. Your assumption is the law. Your imagination is the power. And as you stay in that energy, the reversal becomes unstoppable. They begin noticing your absence. They begin sensing your withdrawal. They begin feeling a discomfort they cannot soothe. They begin realizing that life feels emptier without you. They begin missing your voice, your warmth, your energy. They begin questioning why they ever distanced themselves. And soon, without resistance, they begin moving toward you. They start checking your profile. They start thinking about messaging you. They start replaying old memories. They start wondering what you're doing, who you're talking to, whether someone else has captured your attention. They feel a growing need to reconnect. They feel compelled to reach out. They feel the urge to return because your new state, your new identity, demands that response from them. And you observe all of this from a place of calm authority, not impatience. You feel like someone who is wanted. You feel like someone who is desired. You feel like someone who is pursued. And that feeling create is the reflection. That feeling shapes the interaction. That feeling commands the outcome. As that feeling strengthens, something extraordinary begins to happen. You notice that the power dynamic has shifted without you lifting a finger. Where once you were the one waiting for their message, now they are the one feeling the pull. Where once you were refreshing your screen, now they are the one checking if you're online. Where once you were craving their attention, now they are the one craving yours. This shift does not happen because you tried harder. No, it happens because you finally aligned your inner knowing with the reality you desire. You stepped into the version of yourself who is loved, valued, and chosen, and the world had no choice but to follow. You begin to feel something else too, something even more powerful, a sense of emotional freedom. The old heaviness dissolves, the old doubt loses its grip, the old fear that they may never return disappears. You no longer feel the emotional handcuffs that once kept you bound to their reactions. Instead, you walk with an invisible crown, feeling the truth that no one can ignore you unless you believe you can be ignored. When you no longer assume rejection, rejection cannot appear. When you no longer fear distance, distance collapses. When you no longer identify as someone not chosen, you become the one everyone chooses, including them. Your mind grows quieter. Your imagination becomes your sanctuary. You speak to yourself with the tone of someone who knows they are desired. You picture messages from them not with anxiety but with warmth. You imagine them wanting you not with desperation but with certainty. You see scenarios of them approaching, calling, apologizing, chasing. But these visions are no longer fantasies. They feel real. They feel normal. They feel like memories of something that has already happened. And that is the exact moment when the universe begins arranging scenes to match your inner world. You may even notice that you don't long for them the way you once did. Instead of aching, you feel assured. Instead of missing, you feel magnetizing. Instead of needing, you feel claiming. And this shift in emotional tone is what draws them back faster than anything else. Because desire without anxiety is irresistible. Love without fear is magnetic. Confidence without ego is enchanting. And your new energy radiates all three. They feel it, even if you haven't spoken. They sense it, even if you haven't posted a thing. Human consciousness is not limited by distance or silence. They pick up on the shift within you. Your calm becomes a whisper in their mind. Your confidence becomes a tug at their heart. Your new identity becomes a glow they cannot ignore. They don't know why you feel different, but they feel it. They don't know what changed, but they know something did. And whatever it is, it pulls them toward you with increasing intensity. They begin questioning their own decisions. They start remembering moments where you made them feel alive, understood, seen. They recall the comfort of your presence, the softness of your energy, the way you made them feel valued. They compare you to everything else in their life and realize nothing quite matches. They feel the loss more sharply. They feel the distance more painfully, and they feel the desire to return more urgently. And the beauty is that you won't need to chase, you won't need to initiate, you won't need to convince. Your new state does the work. Attraction is a response, not a request. Love is a reflection, not a negotiation. What you embody is what returns to you. And because you now embody certainty, they return with certainty. Because you embody confidence, they return with devotion. Because you embody self worth, they return with admiration. Your only task is to remain in the inner knowing of being chosen, to live from the identity of someone who is loved, to breathe from the truth that you are desired. When doubt whispers, you override it with imagination. When fear tries to creep in, you remind yourself that your inner world is the only world with authority. When old memories flash, you replace them with new ones, better ones, ones where they are the one pursuing, appreciating, valuing. And as you continue this inner practice, the outer begins to crumble in your favor. Their resistance weakens. Their pride becomes irrelevant. Their silence becomes unbearable to them. They look for signs from you. They wait for opportunities to reach out. They replay the moments you shared. They begin to feel that life without you is incomplete, unsatisfying, hollow. They feel drawn to you not from guilt but from love, not from loneliness but from desire. Their heart begins whispering your name. Their mind begins circling back to you. Their emotions begin aligning with the truth that you have already accepted. They want you, they miss you, they choose you. And soon, without hesitation, the shift becomes physical. You see the message, you hear the call, you witness the apology, the confession, the pursuit. And as their desire intensifies, something even more profound unfolds within you. You no longer look at them with the same longing you once did. Now you look with quiet certainty, a certainty born from inner mastery. You no longer feel small in their presence, real or imagined. Instead, you feel equal, aligned, powerful. You realize that the pedestal you once placed them on was built from your own insecurities, your own assumptions, your own misinterpretations of your worth. But now that pedestal crumbles, not out of resentment, but out of clarity. You see them not as someone above you, but as someone drawn to the radiance you've stepped into. Your energy becomes soft but commanding, gentle but magnetic, calm but irresistible. You embody the kind of presence that doesn't need to demand attention. Attention naturally gravitates toward it, and they feel this transformation in ways they cannot articulate. They sense that the emotional power has shifted. They sense that you are no longer waiting. They sense that you have stepped into a version of yourself that is whole, complete, self assured. And nothing attracts a person faster than someone who no longer seeks from them what they were never meant to supply. Your inner dialogue changes too. When your mind once said, "Why aren't they choosing me?" Now it whispers, "Of course I am chosen." When it once asked, "What if they never come back?" Now it quietly laughs, "They're already on their way." When it once feared loss, now it expects reunion. This new inner language broadcasts a new energetic signal, and that signal becomes the invitation. An invitation they cannot reject because it matches the longing forming inside them. They start noticing the absence of your old energy. They feel the space where your anxious longing used to be. They sense the silence of your old neediness. And this absence speaks louder than any message you could ever send. Your new detachment isn't cold, it's dignified. It carries the warmth of someone who knows their value, but the restraint of someone who doesn't chase. This combination makes them more curious than ever. It makes them want to bridge the gap. It makes them want to re enter your life before someone else does. And even in their moments of hesitation, the energy keeps pulling them back to you. They may distract themselves for a while, but the distraction fails. They may try to convince themselves they're fine without you, but the thought dissolves. They may attempt to avoid their feelings, but desire is persistent when matched with a powerful inner intention. Eventually, the urge to reach out becomes stronger than their pride. The yearning becomes louder than their resistance. The emptiness becomes too uncomfortable to ignore. Meanwhile, you continue living in the quiet assurance of someone already chosen. Your imagination plays scenes of love, union, and devotion, not as fantasies, but as lived experiences. You walk through your daily life with a subtle smile, knowing that the outer world is catching up to the inner reality you've constructed. You carry a glow that others notice, a confidence that others feel, a calmness that even strangers pick up on. You radiate the energy of someone loved, adored, pursued, and because you feel it, it becomes true. And when thoughts of them arise, they no longer bring pain, they bring warmth, they bring excitement, they bring a sense of inevitability. You no longer ask how or when, you trust. You no longer question the process, you embrace it. You no longer look for signs, you become the sign. Your inner state is the evidence. Your inner peace is the proof, and the outer must comply. They begin imagining conversations with you. They rehearse what they'd say if they reached out. They wonder you would respond. They question whether you've moved on. They scroll through old messages, tracing the moments where they felt closest to you. They replay your laugh in their mind, your kindness, your presence. And soon the fear of losing you forever outweighs the fear of being vulnerable. They realize that ignoring you didn't weaken the connection. It intensified it. It clarified their feelings. It magnified their desire. They feel compelled to make things right, to show you the affection they once withheld, to express the emotions they once suppressed. And as this inner pressure builds within them, your calm acceptance anchors the entire process. You have already welcomed the reunion within your imagination. You have already accepted their love in your heart. You have already become the person they cannot resist. And now, as you stand in the fullness of your inner knowing, remember this: the one who once ignored you will always reflect the energy you carry within. You are the source of your reality. You are the origin of their longing, the cause of their desire, the magnet that draws love effortlessly toward you. When you step into the version of yourself that is already chosen, already adored, already irresistible, the outer world has no choice but to mirror it. You are not waiting for them, they are waiting for you. You are not chasing, they are being pulled. Every action, every thought, every feeling you hold inside creates the motion of the universe itself. Hold fast to this truth. Align your consciousness with your vision. Live as though you are already cherished, already pursued, already loved, and watch how life bends, shifts, and delivers exactly what your heart has already accepted. The reversal is inevitable. The energy cannot lie. The love you are ready to receive will move toward you, and in that moment you will see that the power was never outside. It has always been within you.